All right, it is 7:30 a.m. this fateful 30th of April 2024. It's a Tuesday morning, which means if you see me on air, it's time for Biashara Tuesday. Good morning, and please do let us know where you are watching us from and how it looks like wherever you are. It's likely cold if the statistics are correct. Most of the people who are watching this show are experiencing a cold season, so we'd love to know how the conditions are like for you this morning and what you are up to. First, I'd like to acknowledge the privilege that I hold and the privilege that you possess, because if I am able to stand here before you this morning and conduct this show and you're able to receive us, it means that you are not really, or you are a bit cushioned from the harsh effects of what is currently ongoing in the Republic, which is heavy and massive rainfall. Massive flooding and severe landslides have led to the loss of lives, destruction of property and essential infrastructure, crop and livestock losses, and this is affecting close to 500,000 people across the country. As Kenya is emerging from a drought emergency, which was termed as among the worst, or actually the worst in the last 40 years, these current destructive effects of El Nino pose a further risk to the access to food, drinkable water, access to shelter, and other basic needs. Arid and semi-arid regions, which span over 23 plus counties in this republic, are at particular risk, with 2.8 million people now facing acute food insecurities, which are following that back-to-back climatic shocks which they have been experiencing, from drought to flooding, back to drought, back to flooding, which means we do not have enough to sustain them throughout these different climatic changes. Ironically, in Nairobi yesterday, 19 heads of state plus Raila Amolo Odinga convened in a World Bank summit for African heads of state in their International Development Association. The conversation that was happening at KICC is towards their renewed commitment for sustainable communities within Africa. This is a conversation happening within KICC, as outside of KICC, we're experiencing massive floods and severe landslides, which have led to the loss of citizens of the Republic, which is currently hosting that summit. So the question that is in the mind of many Kenyans that I'm going to tackle here this morning is, are the conversations within this room reflecting, or within these rooms, reflecting the reality of what is affecting Kenyans on their day-to-day lives? One reality that we are yet to face is that wetter than usual conditions, such as the ones we are facing right now, are a direct source towards epidemics, particularly of cholera. As we are speaking, doctors in the Republic and medical officers are in their second month of strike. They downed their tools, decrying the government's lack of implementation of their signed collective bargaining agreement from 2017. The government, through its CS Moses Kuria, has also made a very dangerous statement, saying that public servants are now going to be moved from their permanent basis of employment to a contractual basis of employment. This is likely to lead to further strikes from other civil servants who will down their tools to join doctors. Another question to ask ourselves this morning: the 10 billion Kenyan shillings that was set aside just last year towards mitigating the effects of such serious cases of flooding and El Nino, where is that amount of money which was distributed to the counties? Is the national government doing enough to help its citizens? Something that we can ask ourselves as well. Further than, or other than, sending our prayers and good wishes to our fellow Kenyans, what more can we do to help those who are going through these tough times? Do we sit down and just watch? Do we complain online? Do we hold our leaders to account? Do we lend a hand? How much can we do, and how much of it is actually enough to help out the millions who are affected and continue to be affected by these climatic shocks? A conversation I'm having with Kimani Wachira. and Fendo Godwin, who are political commentators and young aspiring leaders of this republic, to join me here on set in just a short while. Throughout this show, of course, we'll be discussing this and much more. There's still business, a discussion to happen here on Biashara Tuesday. It's cold outside, which means beverages are now on the rise in our home states. How do you make, or how do you brew a cup of coffee that will bring happiness within your household? I have an interesting entrepreneur who I'll be telling you of in a short while, and he'll be joining me to know of his journey over 6 years in the coffee industry, teaching and also brewing coffee, one cup of happiness at a time. That's a conversation happening on Biashara Tuesday. Engage us on all social platforms for that and also the other, which I have hinted, of course, which we'll be highlighting in the newspaper review section later on. My name is Richard OKENYE. On social media, you can interact with me at Richard_OKENYE, at KUTV Kenya. The hashtag that you can use as well is the hashtag Biashara Tuesday. Let us know where you're tuning in from and your reactions to the conversations that we're holding here on this show. It's Biashara Tuesday that's going on air. Welcome. Let's have fun. Okay, traffic and as well as weather conditions updates coming to you here from KUTV Rise today. First, the traffic updates and city conditions in terms of transport are coming courtesy of Mathi Route, and of course of you who's out there letting us know what is happening on the roads that you are using. David Gathungu is the first one here, saying Nairobi Naivasha Highway mweke full light hapo Kijabe to Kikuyu, fog ndio kusema. On those sides from Kikuyu to Kijabe in that Nairobi Naivasha Highway. So full light if you're heading that way or if you're using that route. How is Kamakis Road this morning? A question here that other road users are asking. Caution, tall weighbridge on your way to Thika. It's almost impassable. It's flooding there, so if you're approaching that direction, be careful. Since from Kitale Lodwar Road, poor roads and heavy rains. It seems there's of course another river overflowing onto the road here, Kitale Lodwar Road. So kama uko hizo sides, be careful. Alert here on motorists who are using the Embu Meru Highway as well, to be on the lookout at Ikongu Bridge past Kia Ngima Primary School. Seems there is some problem when it comes to accessing that bridge here, so we'll getting more information. That is what we have there for guys who are going that side of Embu Meru Highway. Again, more caution on toll if you're heading towards Thika. It's almost impassable. Thika Road outbound from Spar Mall, kuna nini hapo? I guess that's still the same, around the same area, with toll at Toll Kimbo, a lot of water which is flowing, blocking the highway to Thika. That's what is happening there at Jamuhuri Rongai. Finally at Jamuhuri Rongai after 5 hours from the CBD. I think this is an update from yesterday night. So there was a problem accessing Rongai from Jamuhuri. It seems that was solved as well. Landis Jogoo Road outbound, it's slow moving, bumper to bumper. Traffic snarl up is becoming a permanent phenomenon on Jogoo Road outbound. That's information hapo. Mercedes-Benz falls into a ditch near Shell Kitengela due to poor visibility and poor blocked drainage. Thanks to this government. That's Mwenda Sami thanking the government for his problems this morning. Traffic disruption along the Nairobi Mombasa Highway at Chumbi Junction due to flooding. You're advised to plan for travel delays if you're going to Nairobi Mombasa Highway at that Chumbi Junction. There's flooding. What's happening to Magadi Road? I've been stuck here. Zero movement from MMU for an hour. Zero movement hapo. Rada ya hapa Ngong Road past Karen outwards ni gani? That's Kawa_Ngware. Kawa_Ngware asking us that saizi Ngware. Rada ya hapo Ngong Road ni gani? Magadi Road kuko locked sana, Gataka Road as well kuko locked. Gataka Road kuko locked. Tongue twisters this morning. Those are the updates. Nothing good. Kiambu Road, no information, which means people are silently in their cars waiting for the traffic signal up to move, or it's smooth and they have no time to send in text or to give us the updates, but we'll be sampling that as we go on with the show, courtesy of Mathri Route and also courtesy of you. Tuambie kukoaje hapo nje, alafu pia weather conditions. If you notice anything that is of concern, maybe a possibility of a landslide, massive floods incoming, please let us know, and we will be sure to warn others to be aware. Weather conditions actually for Nairobi City, where I'm at, and also for the environs. Currently at 18 degrees Celsius. It does feel like 18 degrees Celsius. I'm always trying to confirm that. So we are expecting humidity of up to 95%, and there's likelihood of rain from around 11 a.m. all the way to tomorrow. All the way to tomorrow from 11 a.m. It's going to be drizzling, and then it's going to be heavy rainfall from the afternoon. So prepare. Chances of rain are marked here at 100%. At 100% in Nairobi and its environments. So today and other days you can be checking. The Kenya Met Department is very apt in sending out information on what you are expecting in various regions. 1 millimeter of rain is like having 1 liter of water spread over a square meter. And then 100 millimeters of rain will be 100 liters of water spread over 1 square meter. So when they tell you 1 millimeter of rain or 100 millimeters of rain, you should imagine that much of water or substantially that large amount of rainfall is experienced in your region. You can be checking off the updates in the website of the Kenya Met Department, who are always on point. I think I have to commend them for their timely updates in what you can expect today and in the coming few days. Those are the updates this morning. We are switching back gears to business, and of course more of what is happening across the country. We'll be discussing that in the newspaper updates later, but first a discussion as well on coffee business. We do have our guest of the day for business to discuss his journey in the world of coffee, and we are having that conversation around coffee_star, coffee_STA. That's what you can be looking at as we welcome Harun Mugu, the founder and director of Coffee Star. So we'll be looking at how casual drinkers and serious drinkers of coffee, they're serious drinkers of coffee, and they're casual drinkers. We'll be seeing how he's taking care of all of that, all of those categories with a coffee, a cup of coffee, a cup at a time, happiness brewed in 1 cup at a time. How can you join in this? And he's also offering lessons, of course, to those who care for it. So we'll be welcoming him in a short while. Don't go too far. Let us know of your questions in regards to this business or this side of business, if it's something that you want to participate in or take part in the future. Also, any other thing, if you're a coffee lover, we'll be handling those questions. Going for a short break. Biashara Tuesday. We'll be right back. Do not go too far.
Kaunti maarufu kwa kuzalisha maziwa na ukuzaji wa majani chai. Pia, serikali ya kaunti inawahimiza wakulima kukumbatia mitindo mingine ya kilimo kuzidisha mapato.
Kama kuna kikundi moja inafanya biashara ya kuuza kuku, hao pia tumewafadhili kuwafunza jinsi ya kuhandle zile kuku, kwa sababu wanaleta kwa wingi.
Haya yote tunakuletea katika Boresha Kilimo, toleo la kaunti ya Bomet.
Kilimo ni nguzo kubwa kwa ujenzi wa taifa.
Maelfu na maelfu ya wahamiaji wakiwa na watoto kutoka nchi za Amerika ya Kati wanaendelea kuwasili kwenye mpaka kati ya Marekani na Mexico.
But folks, I'm going. Thank you very, very much. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Ni habari kutoka pembe zote duniani.
People pass vuguvugu. People pass ni idea.
Tazidi ananyonya, hanyonyi vizuri, anakuwa hayuko comfortable.
Jeshi la Jamhuri ya Kidemokrasia ya Kongo linapambana na waasi wa ADF.
Kwa sasa wanatoa wito kwa mashirika, makampuni na vile vituo vya uchukuzi.
Mambo mengi yatakwenda kama yalivyopangwa.
Hapa ni kuna mmoja wa viongozi wa chama cha wavuvi katika eneo hili.
Zaidi tunajaribu kuwapa chanjo ili ina boost ama inanyanyua kinga ya mwili. Hiyo inaenda kupelekea kupambana na virusi.
Ni duniani leo, Jumatatu mpaka Ijumaa, moja kwa moja kutoka VOA Swahili, Washington DC.
Are you an aspiring media practitioner, a graduate, or you just want to advance your skills in television production? Then welcome to Kenyatta University, where education meets innovation. KUTV, the premier university television station in Kenya, is now offering short courses in TV studio, field technical operations, and video editing. Through these courses, you will acquire hands-on skills on camera operations, media production, lighting techniques, audio-visual editing, and sound and visual control, and how to operate key equipment in modern TV control room. Enroll today at KUTV and discover your full potential in cutting-edge TV broadcasting. Graduates of these courses will receive professional certificates. For more information, visit our offices at KUTV Studios or call us on 020-870-4252 or 020-870-4255 or SMS us on 0739-110-544. KUTV, a new experience.
Access to knowledge, solution to unanswered questions.
Guidelines to pursuing your rights and repossessing your property, intellectual or material.
This and more only on Law Matters.
Tunachimba hadi mizizi kukuletea yanayojiri.
So mimi naomba tu serikali yetu ya Mungu, jibarikiwe na Mungu, iweze kuteremsha bei ya mafuta.
Yanayokukumba tuna maizi, tuna kutetea sisiri. Kwa kweli ni speciali tukikupambia makala ya mwanamke mwake. Utasema hupendi mizizi ya habari. Nami Caroline Kimoi.
All right, Biashara means business, and that's what we are on about here on Biashara Tuesday. So if you're here for business, you're in the right place. Put that remote away. We're about to dispense to you some knowledge on business, and the business we are highlighting today is the business of coffee. It's cold outside, which means you're most likely with a cup of coffee, cup of tea, cup of water, hot, and because it's a business of beverage, we have to speak to no one else rather than an expert who has been doing it for the past 6 years. He's done this across several countries and also does train people to be expert baristas, people who are supposed to be brewing the perfect cup of coffee. Si kurusha tu maji kwa kikombe na kunyunyuzia powder na kuna sukari just randomly. Yeah, what does it take to call yourself a barista? That's what we're going to get from Mr. Harun himself here, who is the founder and director at Coffee Star, yeah, as you see here. So the star there at the end, just like barista, coffee_star. I think it's something that you can be checking out on social media and the websites, right? Sure. Yeah, so be checking out the website and social media for coffee_STA, and then send in your questions. But first, let me introduce the gentleman, and then we get into the conversation. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm superb.
Yes, have you had your cup of coffee?
Yeah, any day, anytime, coffee is my thing. Yes.
Okay, that's the first thing you begin your day with.
Yes.
Okay, please introduce yourself before we get into the questions of the business and, of course, your expertise.
Okay, thank you so much, you guys. Yeah. My name is Harun M. Thiongo. I'm a barista, a roaster, and a trainer as well. And I'm the founder of this brand, Coffee Star. But apart from this, I'm a coffee brand ambassador to Paparoti Kenya, a brand that started in Malaysia, then dominated widely in Dubai. Then apparently, we are spreading in Kenya actually at the moment. So our first branch is at Broadwalk Mall. That's where you can get my coffee. That's where I can serve your coffee as well.
Okay.
But now I'm here for this today.
All right, you're here for Coffee Star.
_star. Yes.
A connoisseur.
Yes. a coffee expert.
A coffee expert.
Yes.
What makes one a coffee expert? Is it the length of time you've had coffee, or the amount of time you've interacted with coffee? Because if you speak to guys who are in the tech space, tech bros and developers, they are heavy on drinking coffee.
Yes.
So they'll tell you they know so much about coffee. Are they expert as well?
Oh, okay. We cannot say they are expert. An expert is someone who has been practicing. You cannot be an expert while consuming.
Oh, you're just a consumer.
You're just a consumer. Yeah, okay. But an expert is someone who has gone an extra mile to learn deep about coffee.
Okay.
Now, an IT guy who usually have coffee, we can't say he's an expert because they don't know more about the coffee cherry. They only drink. They don't know how the farming process. They don't know the processes behind coffee. And that's what we are here for.
Okay.
Yes.
What was your first, I'm curious, what was your first interaction with coffee like in life, generally? Or like maybe the first time you had coffee and you're like, sweetness only. And then, the first time you thought about this as a career to pursue and maybe eventually as a business?
Actually, I never knew anything about coffee. But my grandfather from my mom's side, they do have the cherry and everything over there at the Ushago, actually in Murang'a. And I never had an idea what this cherry comes to a coffee cup. I never understood what happens in between. So I went to school, never did anything to do with coffee, did media arts. Then eventually, this is the love that found me. I was looking for a job for marketing department in a restaurant somewhere in town. Then they told me, we don't have that position, but I'm going to offer you a barista position. I don't know anything about barista. The only barista I know is a lawyer.
Okay.
So I was like, okay. And the deal was okay because he was like, I'm going to train you in Uganda. I'm going to show you everything. I'm going to pay you. I'm going to give you accommodation.
Nice.
And that's where I started my journey. And I was trained about coffee, like basic coffee thing. And after that, I came back to Nairobi. We opened a branch in Nairobi, in CJ's actually. That's where my first journey started.
Okay.
CJ in Uganda, Cafe Javas. So after that, now I came in Nairobi. We started the one in Koinange Street. Then after that, now the whole thing started forming, and I never knew what exactly this was. After that, I
For
got...
you at that point, it's a job.
It's a job, yeah. I'm just getting my cash, and I'm still planning to
look for a marketing job.
No, a media job. I want to be you. As a matter of fact, I want to be you in that position.
You still want to be in media?
Yes, I want to be in media. A job came, and I was told, now you're going to Dubai for a barista job.
Nice.
I'm going to Dubai for this thing, just having coffee and all that. Oh, that's nice. That's nice. Why not? I went to Dubai, started my journey over there, and coffee in Dubai, it's a huge thing. It's huge. Like literally, even making that coffee, people come and film you. Like
in that process.
Okay. You know, they value coffee so much. You have no idea.
It's a culture.
It's a culture.
All right. I wouldn't have guessed Dubai to be a coffee destination. Sounds too luxurious for coffee.
Yes, actually, that's where my journey started. Now I developed that thing of coffee. The way people were appreciating the whole thing of coffee, now I developed the whole thing of coffee. And I decided now to upgrade my skills in coffee. I went to school in Dubai as well for baristaing.
Nice.
So I was certified barista after that. Now, you know, in Uganda, I was actually trained. Basically, this is what you do. This is how you remove a shot. This is how you do to make a coffee and all that. I was trained by a guy called Stevie. After that, Linus. That's my whole journey. Now, in Dubai, I was trained with someone called Samson Kibuja. So that's when I started developing the whole thing. And yeah.
And now you're a barista?
Now I'm a barista and a roaster. From that point in Dubai, actually, I went to another country now to learn something called roasting in Bahrain. It's still in the Middle East. So I learned coffee roasting. Now this now developing coffee to be darker, like to be medium and all that. Watu wanasemanga ni kuchoma.
Kuchoma kahawa.
Kuchoma kahawa. But now that's not the point. The system unachoma kahawa. So because we're going to get deep now.
Okay. The roasting is a bit detailed than that.
Detailed, yeah. So that's where I developed. I came to Kenya. Back now, in 2020, actually, I came back to Kenya after the whole journey since 2019. So I came back to 2020. I came back to Kenya. I started now learning the Kenya market. Now, this time round, I have interest. Now I'm trying to understand the whole market, how it works and all that. Then after that, now I started being a consultant, opening coffee shops. Like if you're told you want a coffee shop, I come, I develop your menu, beverages, everything, mostly halal menu, whereby there's no alcohol in it.
Okay.
So it's coffee and some mojitos, the drink that they don't have alcohol in it.
Okay.
Now basically that's what I started doing now, training even other baristas. If you have a coffee shop and you want your barista to be more professional, so that's
something that you do.
Yeah, that's something that I do. And after that, now I develop my coffee, whereby now I have, if I told you have a coffee shop, I give you coffee.
Okay.
Now I start supplying coffee to you.
Okay.
Now that's where distribution comes in.
Nice. So you can supply me coffee
at
and
home.
You can also train me in the art of being a barista.
Yes.
Okay. That's a very good combination in one man who also still runs a business of serving people coffee.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. So there's different varieties of coffee, if I may call that. I remember from my, faintly from my classes in geography.
Yes.
We were told about Arabica, which are some of the names I have seen here.
Yes.
There are some from Ethiopia. I think you can see those on the screen. Could we, let us in a bit about what your coffee looks like and what are the, maybe, do we call those strains of coffee? Yeah.
Yes. So basically, we do have Arabica and Robusta.
Okay.
In Kenya, we don't have Robusta that much. We have Arabica.
Okay.
And when you get to Arabica, there are some grades of Arabica. We have AA, we have AB, we have C, we have TT, we have, like, there is expensive coffee from the grading part of it.
Okay.
Now, when you come to grading, there is 90 plus, 80 plus. It depends on how you do cupping. Now, when you do the whole thing of coffee, there is cupping part of it whereby you have to taste your coffee before now you release it to the market.
Okay.
So you have to taste your coffee. Is it a high grade one? Now we have even low grade ones. And these low grade ones, actually, they're the coffee that you usually have it on this powder thing that usually you guys use. Now those people who are casual drinkers, they usually have this, I won't name the brands.
Okay.
But usually they have these small powders you put in your water and you say you are having coffee.
So that's a casual drinker.
That's a casual drinker. Plus that's not even coffee.
That's not even, wow, okay. What's
that's not even coffee.
I was saying I had like 2 cups of coffee this morning.
Oh.
So that was nothing, just warm water.
Yes, that's warm water actually. But now when you get to coffee, now you do have to have this coffee actually. The grounded coffee.
Ground coffee.
Yes. And now for myself, I usually go to farmers, check which coffee. If you can check on my Instagram actually, I usually go to farmers as well. Try to find the right cherries, go to millers, try to find the capping part of it. Now after that, now I grade it to my coffee, which is AB or AA. Usually have my coffee high grade coffee actually. I don't have TT, I don't have low grade coffee. So that's
what's the difference between these grades in terms of the experience that I have as a consumer? High grade, low grade.
Okay. Now
will I feel it?
Yes, you can feel it if now you're in that position of a connoisseur.
Okay. Okay.
You know, now you're getting deeper and deeper
expert
and deeper.
Consumer.
Whereby you don't even have to have your coffee with milk. That's why you say coffee without milk, just black coffee and all that. And that's why I have these gadgets to show you how, like different methods of making your coffee.
Okay.
Yes.
All right.
So we have AA, we have AB, we have C, and when you taste, you can feel you can feel how sweet it is, the aroma. You can feel it's chocolatey, it's like groundnuts. There are those things that you can, if you're keen enough, you can feel them. You can taste them and you can get.
You develop your palate when you're being trained as a barista.
Yes, there is that part actually.
Okay.
There is that part of tasting and developing your palate as well.
Nice.
You learn everything about your tongue, how to taste, where you will get this from. Yes.
All right. Tell us about these instruments. Yeah, let's know. What are these? I remember burettes and pipettes from my chemistry class. Some of them look like that, funnels. Maybe a crash course on
sure. Actually, now we'll start with the. Okay, I don't have a coffee machine over here.
Okay.
Usually we have an espresso machine. Singeweza kuja nayo.
Of course, yeah. It's all right.
It's too much. But basically, this is what you can have at home. This is a Chemex. These are Chemex. Chemex usually to brew coffee. It's a process of brewing coffee, whereby you have to have a filter. This filter, and you still have to have this gadget itself.
Okay.
I usually sell them actually.
Nice.
So if you want one, you can still contact me as well. When you have these and you have these, you need to have a grinder as well, whereby you have to grind your coffee, or if not grinded, you have to have a grinded coffee.
Coffee already.
Grounded coffee itself.
Okay.
So whereby you pour your coffee, you brew well, you have to have hot water as well, and 83 degrees over there, depending on which coffee you have as well. Okay. So you don't have, usitumie tu maji moto. Una maji tu fulani unafaa. Actually, you're supposed to have a thermometer.
A thermometer?
Yes.
Okay.
To at least measure your water. So that's the whole thing. Then we do have a V60. V60, the same process. It has a filter as well, and that's the thing. And after that, still hot water, grounded coffee. We have French press. Now French press, you just put your grounded coffee over here, hot water, put like that. Enjoy. This is the simplest method.
That's the simplest. I like it.
Yes.
Okay.
Just put grounded coffee over there, hot water, leave it to brew. Then after that, you have coffee.
And then you pour your coffee.
Then you pour your coffee. Then
Nice.
you pour it over here. This is one of my merchandise actually, sorry.
Okay.
So you pour it on coffee, it's the cup.
Let me have this.
Yeah.
Oh, right. This is a nice cup.
Yes.
Nice.
And some few methods that I don't have over here. We have French, we have AeroPress as well. Yes.
Okay. So these are things that I can have in my home for my own coffee consumption and enjoyment.
Instead of doing those powders.
Okay. So is it expensive to be a connoisseur of coffee at this level? Because that's probably the first question someone is asking themselves. Mbona niachane na powder zangu alafu ndo ninunue hizo zenu za uptown.
It's expensive to have coffee. It is expensive. These gadgets are expensive, and honestly, you can just invest in one gadget and have your coffee at home. And even the coffee machine itself, it's very expensive. Like starting a coffee shop, it's expensive.
It's expensive business.
And that's why Kenyans sometimes we are confused. Some people go to coffee shop to associate themselves with fanciness and class. That's not the point.
Okay.
Don't associate yourself with class and all that. Go and learn coffee. Learn, understand your coffee. And it's so unfortunate, our coffee is well appreciated abroad
than it is here.
Over here. And we are producers of coffee, but we don't appreciate our own coffee. Go to Ethiopia, they are well known for coffee as well.
And they're drinking their own coffee.
And they're drinking their own coffee. In each and every corner of Ethiopia, actually, outside a club, actually, you will get a coffee place. And you will enjoy your coffee as well.
Outside every coffee shop, there's a club. It's the other way around.
And a smoky place.
And a smoky guy.
Yes.
Yeah? Okay. So is your coffee Kenyan, this that you use at Coffee Star?
Yes, I usually have my own coffee from home because I do have my clients who are outside as well, and they really love Kenyan coffee. And I'm really trying to get Ethiopian coffee as well, Burundi, Rwanda, and Uganda. That's what I'm trying at least to bring in the market. But I cannot bring the outside coffee when we are not still appreciating our own coffee. I haven't utilized our own coffee to the fullest. So I can't start bringing outside countries coffee over here. So that's the whole thing.
How does your process of working with farmers look like to source the coffee?
Usually I do visit the coffee farms, and even with coffee farm I engage with farmers. Mostly I work with the cooperatives as well, to like have my own green beans. Green bean coffee. Then after that I go to a roastery where I roast my coffee at Peter's place called Peter Karaoke. So yeah, that's the thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
A friend of mine, Ngoiri Migwi, is one of those people who go to the coffee shops for that experience of class and of course to work as well. But it helps if you have a glass of or a cup of coffee next to you. They're asking about the brewing techniques to elevate that coffee experience at home. If I don't want to go there and be lied to with some warm water and powder, apart from having this, of course, how can I elevate my coffee experience at home?
First, you need to do away with those powders. Then now start having the coffee brands. Now smell the aroma of coffee. It will never lie. But the powder, you never feel the coffee, like the real aroma of coffee. Now you'll never know the authenticity of coffee until you meet with that authentic product. So you need now to start having the original products, the coffee itself, the roasted coffee itself. You feel the aroma. Plus then, when you go to a coffee shop and you want a coffee, say medium to dark or medium roasts. When you want to have your coffee at home, do the medium one, not the dark. When you say dark coffee, it's more like umechoma sana hiyo kahawa. So even imekuwa bitter. Sasa hata usiwezi feel the nitakwambia nini? Hizo nutrients textures zenyewe uwezi feel. So you need to have the medium. Ile haijachomwa sana. Now after that, slowly start with small grammage of coffee. Then after that, now you will elevate slowly, and now you'll be a connoisseur. And plus that, you need someone like me to guide you and show you the way.
Yeah. Since you're involved in this process from start to finish, which parts of being a barista do you enjoy? Which parts do you enjoy the most? Is it the tasting or the making process? Which are your favorites?
I like the cupping part of it. The cupping now whereby you have to taste and engaging with the farmers. I like going to the farm so much. And now the final product is whereby I'm making coffee at the restaurant and I'm engaging with customers. I like talking to customers. People have issues. People are depressed outside. When they come to a coffee shop, they want to riot to you. Now they want to talk to you. They want to tell you their story. Now that's where I love it more. This process of interaction.
What is a crazy coffee order you've ever received?
A crazy coffee order? When someone comes at a coffee shop and they want cappuccino without foam. Cappuccino without foam. How can you have a cappuccino without foam? Honestly. Now, cappuccino you need to have a foam.
I didn't even know that. But honestly, guys.
coffee with sugar. Don't go to a coffee shop and you want coffee with sugar.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
No,
For you not to develop the palate thing, coffee itself it has sugar.
Oh, you shouldn't go with sugar.
No.
You know, I overdo sugar in my coffee because I'm trying to do away with the bitterness.
Those are some of the things that irritate baristas.
Okay.
Coffee with sugar, like someone will come and say extra hot coffee. Coffee is not supposed to have been.
Kama kuchase beer. Yeah.
Usichome kahawa yako atikuwe moto zaidi. No.
Okay. Iced coffee.
Yes.
Is that cold coffee, and why do people have it?
Yeah, iced coffee is actually nice. It's okay.
Yeah.
But now we are going to. What am I going to say? Iced coffee is not the way to go though.
Okay.
But at least we can say it's okay.
Why is it okay, and why is it not the way to go?
Coffee we can. Okay. Now what am I going to say about this? Coffee is well nice when it has that balance of heat. Okay. Not very hot, just at 60 degrees Celsius, 60 to 70. But when you say cold, it's okay, you can enjoy. But for connoisseur, they don't really go for that. And if at all you're going for a cold coffee, go for something called cold brew. So it's just a process of brewing your coffee for like 24 hours.
Okay.
Yes.
For 24 hours.
For 24.
What does this do to the coffee?
It ferments coffee. There is a way of developing, and even you can feel the taste of coffee actually over the night. So that's the whole thing.
Okay.
That's the best cold coffee you can have, cold brew. But these are other things. It's okay to have.
Yeah, I've actually really never understood why people take like cold beverage in general, including cold coffee.
But especially
iced tea, iced coffee.
Yes, iced caramel caramel macchiato, vanilla, iced.
Yeah.
It's okay to have them.
It's okay
but
to
they
have
do
them,
have sugar.
For sure.
But for connoisseur, they would opt to have sugary coffee.
Okay.
They usually have their coffee when it's just purely coffee.
Okay.
And when purely coffee, it's cold brew. Yeah.
So for a first timer who walks into a coffee shop and hears 2 shots of this, 1 shot of this, what does that shot represent in coffee?
Now we do have espresso now. Espresso is just an extraction of coffee beans from a coffee machine.
Okay.
That is an espresso. And in espresso we do have double espresso and single espresso. And now those double and single are short, 2 short, 1 shot. That's now where the shots comes in.
Okay.
Yes.
Right. For a business person, I have a question, which regards to the popularity. Which are the most popular coffee orders? Maybe for someone getting into the business to think about. Yeah.
In a coffee shop.
Yes. Especially in Kenya for the Kenyan coffee drinking culture. Yeah.
Cappuccino, latte, vanilla latte, caramel macchiato, and espresso.
Okay.
But Kenya don't like espresso that much
because of the
it's
nikali.
Watasema nikali, but that's not the point. Ufai kusema kahawa nikali.
As a connoisseur. As a connoisseur, what am I supposed to say?
A lemon tastes like.
A lemon tastes like.
Yes.
Okay.
And they don't like that taste.
There you have it. Yeah. You don't like, but we connoisseurs, we love it. All right. So there's a question on single and blended coffees.
Yes.
What's the difference there? Single origin and blended coffees.
Okay. Single origin. What can I say about single origin? Single origin is when you go to a specific. For an example, we do have Maguta Estate. Maguta Estate, it's a farm whereby they have specialized in green coffee, and there are those processes that they do in that farm. So from there, you can say that's a single origin whereby it originates from that farm. Now, when you say blended, you can say it's a mixture of different places.
All right, I see.
Different farms. So that's blending.
Okay.
Yes, basically. And when you come to a coffee shop now, after that, you can come and blend your coffee now from different grades. There is that grading of blending of grades, and there is that blending of origin, different origin. Yes.
Okay. As someone who's had this for a very long time, and I can see it even in your passion for the coffee, and you've probably had all the coffee there is to taste. What makes a great cup of coffee for you, apart from the coffee itself? What to you would mean, as someone who's had probably every kind of offering in terms of coffee, what would make a great cup of coffee for you?
a barista who knows what he's doing, a barista who understands coffee. I will appreciate having a cup of coffee from him with that love and passion. If I see the passion for the barista, I will appreciate it. It might not be the best cup, but the way you serve it, the way you give it to me matters a lot than even the cup. Yes.
All right.
So it might be any cup of coffee, any type of coffee, but how the barista
has made it.
The passion in it, I can tell. And that's what matters a lot to me.
I'm pretty sure you can taste it. You can know a cup made of someone who has...
Yes, someone who knows what he's doing. Yes.
Okay. Now, let's get the orders going, yeah? Watu wanataka kwanza mimi, tuanzie mimi.
Yes.
I want to know how I will order one of this.
Yes.
Maybe I can start my coffee journey. Generally, what before we get into that, generally speaking, for a tea person,
yes.
So maybe we are now talking to someone who straight out of Worcestershire, and they're like, what are you guys talking about coffee? I'm a tea guy. So, generally speaking, just for the allure of coffee,
yes.
What is good about being a coffee person?
Coffee helps a lot when in terms of your brains. It opens your nerves. That's why even you find most of the business are made over a cup of coffee. That's why you say, oh, we're having a business meeting, let's go to a certain restaurant to have coffee shop. That's the whole thing. It opens your nerves, it opens a lot, it makes you relax, and so many things.
Okay.
But another thing, don't have your coffee in an empty stomach.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, don't make it a norm to have coffee in an empty in an empty stomach.
And a lot of people have it first thing in the morning.
Yes. You need to have your breakfast first.
Okay.
Then have your coffee.
All right.
Yes.
Okay. Wewe mmesikia devs and tech bros don't have it on empty stomachs. Yeah. Okay.
So kahawa ifanyangi usilale. Kuna wengine wanasemanga when I have coffee I won't sleep. I usually have my coffee even at night and I will sleep like a baby.
Yeah.
So
that
it
kind
makes
of
you relax.
Okay.
Yes.
So kahawa inisaidi ku transnight when I'm doing
hiyo
my...
tu ni mentality na ukweli utatransnight. But kahawa ifanyangi kitu kama hiyo. Utalala vizuri.
Okay.
Yes.
I can have coffee just right before I sleep.
Yes.
And sleep very well.
It's very possible.
Okay.
It's very possible.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sawa. It's good for your nerves, opens you up, ukwe umechangamka na umerelax, yeah? Umerelax na umechangamka at the same time. That's a really good thing. Let's get the orders going, as we said.
Yeah.
What order aje? Coffee star, and in what kind of packages are they available?
So usually I have my half a kg.
Half a kg is the one you're holding?
Yes.
Okay.
And I have a 1 kg. So if at all you do need one, just text me or call me at my number 0740 250 190, or you can get me on my social handles, coffee_sta. You can DM me, you can talk to me, anything, and I will get it to you.
Okay.
Usually I do deliver everywhere you want, but at Central Point, Nairobi town. Yeah, but if at all you do have a restaurant and you want me to distribute to you, just call and I will deliver wherever you are around Nairobi. But in Kisumu, Mombasa, usually we do send a parcel. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right. So as he said, text him, call him 0740 250 190. Yeah, 40 to 50 190, yes. And then you can DM or send your query on social platforms.
Yeah, sure.
Coffee_star. That's where you get your orders in from. Now, that's for the coffee. If they want to do it at home, if they want to have an experience at one of the shops, where do they come to?
Yeah. If you want to have an experience of my coffee, come to Paparoti, Kenya at Broadwalk Mall. It's a franchise that originated to have the same experience in Kenya. So if you want anything to do with my coffee, come to Paparoti. You'll find me over there at Broadwalk, Ojijo Road, Westlands.
Right.
Yes.
Ojijo Road, Pale, Broadwalk. Yes. You'll find him there, and then you have an experience. And the other artillery, hizo za kutumia.
Sasa hizi unataka kutumia, ukinunua moja huwa nakupatia recipe na ukupatianga the way to use them. So if you buy a V60, I'll give you the way forward to use it at home. So that's the whole thing.
Nice. They can still order it through Coffee_sta.
Yeah, you can still order from Coffee_sta.
Nice. So hizi vitu ziko hapa, you can get for yourself and have a cup of happiness as we have been described to the whole process. Sounds very exciting. And if you become a connoisseur, you know, this year I'm trying to grow some class as well. So I'm going to be a connoisseur. I'll be, you know, letting you know of the taste, where it originates from, this and much more of the class I'm injecting in my lifestyle. So be a part of this journey and get yourself something from Coffee Star, ground coffee. Ndo wachane zile glucose nakunywa kwa nyumba. Powder ukiziita coffee. Thank you very much, Harun, for creating time for us and explaining us the whole process. Let's talk about training as well before we close up. Coffee brewing skills training.
Yes.
How do you go about that for people who are interested?
So usually if you want to be trained about coffee, I have a place where I usually train people, my place. If you want, just talk to me, call the number, and there is processes of training as well.
Okay.
You start with a barista. After that, now you develop interest. You can become a roaster. You can become a QC. You can become a kappa. You can become, like, the whole thing of coffee is so wild.
Yeah.
You cannot even fully. You cannot
cover it fully.
Yeah. You know.
I can see.
So it's very wild.
Okay.
There's so many skills in that field, and they are undiscovered skills actually.
Yeah.
So let's
come and get any of those skills.
Yes.
Okay.
So it's just a small skill, but it pays off.
It pays off. It does pay off. Yeah.
Yes. I think anything that you want, to achieve in this life, be it a small thing, just put your effort in it, and one day, one time, it will pay off for sure.
Right. Do you still want to come into media? After that long journey?
No, I still want to be in coffee, but I can do the media part of it while achieving my own thing in coffee as well.
Yeah, definitely.
Do coffee, make people learn coffee. That's what I do in my socials. In my TikTok, on my Instagram, I teach people.
Oh, you're already still.
Right?
Yeah. Okay.
So usually I teach people on my Instagram, my TikTok, and even my YouTube channel actually.
It will eventually become a full-blown show that you put out on, I don't know, whatever.
Yeah.
Okay, nice. Thank you very much, Harun, founder and director of Coffee Star, for creating time for us here this morning.
For sure, without...
Oh my goodness. Thank you so much.
I'll give you that. Start your journey with that actually.
Nakwambia kunusu. Mambo ya powder, ai sahau. Thank you so much, bro. This makes my day and my week. Definitely.
Sure.
Oh my goodness, that's why I love this show. Yeah, we talk business and then we go home with something.
Yes.
Also smells nice.
That's the aroma.
That's the aroma, man.
What? Now you're a connoisseur.
Now I'm a connoisseur. Yeah. The journey has begun. Yeah, it smells like Arabica. It is. Asante sana, Harun. Okay, so check out Coffee Star on social platforms, Coffee_Star. He puts out a few videos here and there for your own consumption in terms of learning how to make a good cup of coffee. If you want training, reach out to him as well. He will train you from whichever angle of you trying to be a barista, even QC, quality control, right? So that's checking if it's the right product. That's I think hapo pia nitakuja hapo after I've had my first taste.
Utafika hapo.
Nitakuja hapo sasa. Yeah. So check them out and order as well. Your half kg, your kg here, and also any other of these products that you want to try and use to brew at home. It also helps you with a step-by-step process of how you can go and use it. So you're getting so much added value if you're getting it from Coffee Star. Thank you very much, Harun.
Thank you so much.
Going to take that short break here on Biashara Tuesday, but Biashara inaendelea, we're going to mulika the Biashara of the nation. How are we doing out there? It's cold, so grab yourself a cup of coffee, and I hope it's ground coffee. We'll be right back. Don't go too far.
aspiring media practitioner, a graduate, or you just want to advance your skills in television production? Then welcome to Kenyatta University, where education meets innovation. KUTV, the premier university television station in Kenya, is now offering short courses in TV studio, field technical operations, and video editing. Through these courses, you will acquire hands-on skills on camera operations, media production, lighting techniques, audiovisual editing, and sound and visual control, and how to operate key equipment in modern TV control room. Enroll today at KUTV and discover your full potential in cutting-edge TV broadcasting. Graduates of these courses will receive professional certificates. For more information, visit our offices at KUTV Studios or call us on 020-870-4252 or 020-870-4255 or SMS us on 0739-110-544. KUTV, a new experience.
Maelfu na maelfu ya wahamiaji wakiwa na watoto kutoka nchi za Amerika ya Kati wanaendelea kuwasili kwenye mpaka kati ya Marekani na Mexico.
But folks, I'm going. Thank you very, very much. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Ni habari kutoka pembe zote duniani.
Pepo pasi vuguvugu, pepo pani idea.
Sazidi ananyonya, hanyonyi vizuri, anakuwa hayuko comfortable.
Jeshi la Jamhuri ya Kidemokrasia ya Kongo linapambana na waasi wa ADF.
Kwa sasa wanatoa wito kwa mashirika, makampuni na vile vituo vya uchukuzi.
Mambo mengi yatakwenda kama yalivyopangwa.
Hapa ni kuna mmoja wa viongozi wa chama cha wavuvi katika eneo hili.
Zaidi tunajaribu kuwapa chanjo ili ina boost ama inanyanyua kinga ya mwili. Hiyo inaenda kupelekea kupambana na virusi.
Ni duniani leo, Jumatatu mpaka Ijumaa, moja kwa moja kutoka VOA Swahili, Washington DC.
Get ready to kickstart your day with the most exciting morning show around. Tune in to our dynamic and entertaining program where we keep you informed, engaged, and entertained from the moment you wake up.
From breaking news and current events to music, fun, and out of the ordinary stories, we've got you covered with a mix of interviews, games, and special segments. You never know what's in store.
Join us every Monday morning
and Tuesday morning
for a fun and fascinating way to start your day.
Don't miss out on the action.
Tune in now and experience the excitement for yourself.
Only on KUTV Rise Today from 7 a.m. to 10 a.m.
Start your day
with us.
Access to knowledge, solution to unanswered questions.
Guidelines to pursuing your rights and repossessing your property, intellectual or material.
This and more only on Law Matters.
They are powerful and influential. They make decisions in politics, education, finance, agriculture, health, sports, and all aspects of human life. But the impact of their decisions falls on you, the common citizen. KUTV Primetime News Thursday. We ask bold questions and pursue answers to the core to bring you closer to the story. We couldn't have it any other way. Join me, Auma Evans, as I raise matters of social concern to raise your voice from the background to the foreground. Every Thursday and Saturday at 9 p.m. only on KUTV.
Right. This is still Biashara Tuesday. We are sampling your feedback on social platforms at KUTV Kenya, at Richard_Kenya. So you can leave a comment there, and I'll definitely see it if you use also the hashtag Biashara Tuesday. We are just about to get into the conversation that's up next, which is the newspaper review. We're looking at the headlines of the day, and of course, definitely the massive floods and the flash floods, the massive landslides which are happening across the country, affecting close to 500,000 Kenyans, are going to be the priority conversation that we're having here in a short while. But just to remind you, off air, we had Mr. Harun, who is the founder and director of Coffee Star, which is helping you be a connoisseur of coffee, getting you ground coffee, but also training in terms of how to brew your own coffee at home and have a good coffee experience, plus other accessories which you can use in your journey to create a cup of coffee. He left me this half of a kg of ground coffee, single origin, with part of it coming from Ruiru 11. Kwenye mali naishi mimi, so Kiambu County, Ruiru constituency, right? And then Ruiru is in there. So I'm getting something from home, supporting Kenyan farmers, and we are very happy, of course, to support it as well. So grab yourself one of those by checking out their social media, Coffee_Star. If you missed that conversation and you're wondering huyu jamaa anaongelelea nini mambo ya kahawa saizi, you'll find it on YouTube later, KUTV Kenya, a conversation with Coffee Star. Alafu utapitia utuambie what do you think makes a good cup of coffee for you and how they can help you out. But now we're switching gears to the newspaper review. I'm coming back with Fendo Godwin and Kimani Washira. What do they have to say on the headlines and the main stories of the day? Coming back in a short while. Don't go far. The Standard, deluge of death, deluge. English, people of English, and teachers of English, and English teachers as well. Let us know what the right pronunciation is. Deluge or deluge of death. Residents near Kijabe Dam were warned about rapidly rising waters, but no action was taken. Thereafter, an entire village was caught unawares at night as flood waters swept everything on its way. Page 2, 3, 4, and 6 of the Standard are prioritizing the greatest tragedy out of the massive flooding which has happened. Currently, the death toll nearing 50 people who are dead, confirmed, and others missing to this point. Rescue missions ongoing in that side of Larry constituency, as I'm being informed by Kimani Wachira, who's on set with us here this morning. That's the Standard, and there's an image, as you can see here. The Standard says it's 45 people so far. Some more are missing. The number is likely higher because missing relatives are yet to be found. And here you can see houses have been swept. You can't see any house at all, actually. You'd think there was no settlement in this area, but there were houses here swept by raging waters from that dam, which again I am duly informed wasn't a dam, but just water which had already built up uphill from that village or from that settlement. 150 people is the number of people who sought treatment at the Maimahiu Health Center. At least 25 were referred to the Naivasha Sub-County Hospital. That's the tragedy of the day here, outside the many currently happening across the country. Houses are being damaged, swept away, crops, livestock, people, and vehicles as well. We are losing lives, and we are also losing livestock and food. The Daily Nation, Black Monday, is the headline of that paper this morning, and we are seeing an image of a woman carrying a child through a slurry of mud. And this was yesterday at Maimahiu, Naivasha, where that tragedy happened, when the residents of Jerusalem and Kamuchiri villages in Maimahiu retired on bed or to bed on Sunday night. They didn't know that at around 2 to 3 a.m. they'll be awakened by a slurry of mud, rocks, and trees coming down, sweeping away everything in their path, leaving dead and many of them missing. Right there at the Daily Nation, on the front of the pages, is a story on page 4 and 5 where confusion happened. Again, coming to Monday morning at 1 a.m. when a communication was sent from the Ministry of Education asking that students who are returning back for their second term postpone that until next week on Monday, where schools will reopen from May 6th rather than yesterday. And that communication happened at 1 in the morning, catching many of these students and pupils unawares. Some of them had already made their way to school and had to make their way back through the heavy rainfall and some of the roads, as we are seeing the Business Daily, which have been cut off. The Kitale, Kapenguria, Lodwar, Juba Highway cut off at around West Pokot yesterday, so there's no transport happening across Kitale, Kapenguria in that Lodwar Juba Highway. Nice. So those are the stories of the day, and let me get the gentleman to say hi to us, greet us, and let us know what they are feeling like this morning given the happenings across the country, and then we get their reactions and sample your feedback on social platforms. From my far right is Fendo Godwin, coming back for the second time, I believe. Yes, and Kimani Wachira for the nth time. We've lost the count. Stop the count for Kimani Wachira. Let's continue the count for Fendo. Fendo, please introduce yourself. Good morning.
Good morning to Mr. OKENYE.
Yes.
Very happy to be with you here again.
Happy to have you back.
Yeah, this is my second time here, and the first time that I was here, I can remember very well, we were analyzing these newspapers, and the first cover page, there was again a tragedy, and the tragedy was about the explosion that happened
in Embakasi. Yes.
Yeah. And a lot of lives got lost. And on this, it's still on this table that I told you that tragedies are there, but what are we doing to prevent these issues from happening, or is it political PR? Again, I'm here for the second time, and this is about calamities, and not just about calamities, but a calamity from the same county, same scenario of a dam, exploding or doing whatever it did, and lives lost. The numbers stood at 48 in the year 2018. The numbers still standing at 48 and more, still losing their lives.
Yeah.
So I'm here again to assist in the analysis of the newspapers.
Right. So it's a repeat tragedy, as you have aptly mentioned there, and the numbers are around the same, coming from the same county, from the same region. And I just have to mention that this is the region of the President of the Republic, which should be of core concern to him, being his backyard. Kimani Wachira.
Good morning.
Good morning, bro.
Good morning also our viewers. I'm Kimani Wachira, the Temple Youth Council Chair and former student leader. Allow me, before I indulge into what the editors have prioritized, to first bring you greetings from the Reverse Church Nakuru. I was there for a training, and they say that they have always been watching us, and they say hi to you, Brother Richard.
Nice.
Receive greetings.
I received them.
Also allow me to pass my sincere condolences to my fellow constituents and also the neighboring constituency, that is Nakuru, where yesterday tragedy fell us as most of our members were asleep. It is one of the saddest moments we have had as a nation and as a Rari constituency, and also our neighboring constituency, that is Naivasha constituency. And we are saying that it is time we evaluate how we do disaster response and also preventive measures, vis-a-vis preventive measures. Lastly, allow me also to send a message of goodwill and also quick recovery to all those who were hospitalized and others referred to the various treating centers within Rari constituency and also in Naivasha constituency that hosts Maimahiu. And it is an unfortunate incident. We are lacking words to comment because as we all know, people went to sleep after a beautiful Sunday, having attended churches and having the last moment with their sons and daughters, because they were anticipating that on Monday they are going back to school. They slept well, and unfortunately disaster struck, making yesterday a very dark day in our history.
Yeah. Right. Kimani. Very sad.
To send our condolences
Yes.
to those who have been affected, and also message of quick recovery to those who are still in hospital.
Yes, the survivors, definitely. And we are seeing many more videos coming out, of course, other regions where the vehicles have been swept away. Some of the boats which have been used in crossing some rivers in the northern part of the country capsizing, with mothers and children inside, teachers and students who are trying to make their way to school yesterday. And in addition, of course, to this Black Monday, as Daily Nation has pointed out here. Now, on to serious matters, of course. Before here on this show, we've made jest of and made light of that statement that, you know, there have been boats which are being procured for Nairobi County and other counties. It used to be a joke. I wouldn't, well, for lack of a better word, it used to be a joke that, you know, we need boats, ukitaka kuvuka Moi Avenue, or tunahitaji boats, but now it's serious. Lives are being lost, whether in Nairobi, where we are seeing an overwhelming amount of flooding happening in settlement areas like Kibra, Mathare, and we're seeing this at the same time happening even in gated estates of Runda, Karen, so which means for the first time Mother Nature is showing us that there's no one who's above the other. Now, in terms of preparedness, coming back to the issue of boats, last year 10 billion Kenyan shillings was set aside towards preparedness of El Nino. A series of events happened. The President of the Republic said they've made a lot of prayers in collaboration with the Office of the First Lady and the Office of the Lady to the Deputy First Lady to the, I don't know. There are many offices that were involved in prayers. We made the Director of the Kenya Met Department apologize for saying that there's going to be massive effects coming due to El Nino. He made a public apology on national press saying, you know, pole sana kwa ile tulisema. It seems the president has actually seen what is happening. Hakuna heavy rainfall coming. We had 3 months. That was from August, September, November there, October, and then now we are back. El Nino, massive effects, landslides. We are seeing something unlike we have ever seen before. Where are the 10 billion? Where's the 10 billion Kenyan shillings in terms of preparedness? I'd like to hear what you gentlemen have to say. Fendo.
Thank you very much.
Yes.
So I like to begin this from a biblical perspective during the times of Noah when there were floods. And these people are going to an ark, and God said to them that floods will not come to destroy the people again. Floods will not come to destroy your property again. Which means God had plans that he knew when rains will be there, this water will have a place to go. And it will not destroy people. Which means right now, if floods are destroying and killing people, it's because of our own making.
God already did his part.
God already did his part. It's because of our own ignorance, our own making, and our shortcuts that we want to do, and do, you know, some shortcuts. You find that Mother Nature placed this place to be a river, but somebody comes and even builds a structure at the center there. You remember there was a time when a certain member of parliament, I think it was from the member of parliament,
Governor Kiambu.
So he was asked by Raila Odinga when they were doing some physical planning about the urban areas and the waterways and all those things. So they were proposing, and there were some propositions about that. But this person told them that kama mtu amejenga katikati ya mto, basi maji tafute mahali pa kuenda.
Wasongeze mto.
Yeah, but that person is a member of parliament elected by Kenyans.
And
so
a governor,
Kiambu County, you know, elected by and won by a landslide.
Yes.
So our own ignorance is the one that is placing us to this mess. And God said, or rather the Holy Book says that ignorance, how is that quote? Ignorance is not defense, and ignorance, many people suffer because of ignorance.
Yes.
Yeah. And remember, Nairobi also said that we have set aside 10 billion. Where are those money? They said they are boats. What I saw in Nairobi County is this, you know, these trucks, how can I, this sunny, you know, that I used to construct roads. I saw it trying to, you know, short us some money from some bridge somewhere and trying to help, you know, to control it. That's the a sense of joke that we are in.
Yes.
You know? So there is poor planning from the government. Right now we cannot see anybody. We don't see physical planners at the ground. This is the best time that they can come to the ground and start doing planning. We need to see them with the cameras and the rulers trying to see how these waters can find their way. Where are they right now?
But this is something that was supposed to be done even way before this, right?
Yes.
Yes, which means we haven't seen them before and we still can't see them here now.
But we must have a time to say that now is the time to do it. The best time to do it is right now.
Yes.
We have a new government, a president who promised Kenyans, you know, to take them to good places, to give them, you know, what is needed to follow the law. You know, so we need to see those planners to be there and doing everything to solve other issues.
Yes.
I mean, these pertinent issues, because we're losing lives. And if you look at this cover page here on this newspaper, it is a mother carrying a child. So it is women and children suffering the most. The gender cards have always been playing parts and narratives that we want women to be in leadership. Women are right now suffering, children are right now suffering. Why is the gender card on defending against women?
Right.
Who do we elect in power? These are people putting gender cards so that they win political seats, but not to help.
But when they get there,
they forget these are women suffering. The number of women and children who have died are many. Nobody's bringing the gender cards here. But when they want political seats, they will go there. We must be very careful about these vampires who use gender cards to go into parliament, but they're not doing anything to save these mothers and women suffering.
Yeah. Kimani Wachira, I am here on my phone with a PDF of one Dr. William Ruto's thesis at the University of Nairobi. This is the title: Biological and Physicochemical Status of Two Wetlands in the Nairobi National Park, Kenya, by William Kipchirchir Samoei Ruto, BSc Honours, Nairobi. A thesis submitted to the School of Biological Sciences in partial fulfillment for the degree of Master of Science, Plant Ecology at the University of Nairobi. And this was having a look at the influence of anthropogenic activities on land use, cover changes, and environmental quality of riparian ecosystems. I mean, that's a very heavy title for his thesis, and that's what he defended for his PhD, which gives him Dr. William Ruto. Aptly, President William Ruto, again, he is the chairperson of the African Heads of State and Governance at the African Union when it comes to matters of climate change. The first daughter to the President of the Republic is also chair of another organization which I'll be looking at that takes care of climate change. President William Ruto recently also said October 10th is going to be Mazingira Day. So we have a lot of efforts, a lot of statements, a lot of knowledge when it comes to what we are facing at the moment. We have preparedness in terms of funding. So what are we not doing right? From where you sit at, looking at it, Kimani Wachira, presented with those facts. The president studied exactly what we are going through. He should be the first person we are seeing on the ground, as Godwin is saying. We should see him with the tape measure. Yendo tunafaa kuona atuambie vile alikuwa na ile thesis, riparian land aliona wapi, what happened. He should be the expert. He should be the one to tell us and give us direction, but we are seeing very little of that. Where are we? We are going well, we are going wrong in so many areas. So what gives, Kimani?
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
As you have clearly stated, the incumbent president did a thesis in the University of Nairobi about environment, and he has been consistent talking about issues to do with environment and challenging and saying that one, we must appreciate that, and also that is in cohort with what the late Wangari Maathai said, that nature is very punishing, but it does not punish the actual offenders, but the next generation. And as you have clearly stated, that a lot has been talked about, even Kenya hosting an African summit about environment.
Yeah, by World Bank.
By World Bank,
okay.
And the African, it was called African Climate Summit.
Oh, the Africa Climate Summit, yes.
That was happened last year.
Yes.
But all this does not prepare for us, does not prepare for disaster.
Just to add on, yesterday as well, the World Bank was having its summit here in Kenya. It's also about sustainable development.
Yes. All this is about development, but not about the adverse effects of the climate change.
Okay.
I'm sure you have heard about and hosted by the other Kimani talking about disaster, about climate action fund, but that here goes to talking about how can we do to avert the effects of climate change. But now what you're talking about here is disaster.
Yes.
Disaster that has been caused by the selfish interest of Kenyans. I will not highlight about yesterday's incidents, but in the entire picture, we have, as Kenyans, built on riparian land. We have, as my good friend and learned colleague mentioned, a former governor of Kiambu County who is on record saying that Kenyans, if you have a problem with there is a river that passes through your land and it's called riparian land, we should transfer or move the river and leave the established infrastructure. We have, as Kenyans, built walls to separate our land and preventing waterways. Kenyans have been ignorant. We have seen cases of Kenyans riding on tops of roads on a flooded river and expecting that the government should do something about them, and it is their right. So as much as we are blaming the government, as much as we are blaming the current regime, we also ought to blame ourselves. That one, we are ignorant, professionally ignorant. Two, we also need to blame the developers of the system, the education system. We don't have disaster awareness classes or lessons taught to our primary schools or secondary school students. That is the missing gap, because I mean, education right now penetration is around 78%. If we had 78% of Kenyans who are literate with information about disaster preparedness and how to react when certain things happen, then we'll be not crying about this. So we also need to review our education curriculum. Coming back to the story about El Nino, the funds, there is a white, people think that it's white elephant. And I would say that yesterday I was listening to the government spokesperson articulate some issues in the evening, and he said that yes, they were warned about disaster and El Nino. Funds were allocated, and it's good. They say that the El Nino was supposed to happen from during the short range time, and it happened in sections of the nation, and some funds were used. The weatherman this year talked about and advised that there is going to be prolonged rains, and he didn't say it's going to be El Nino. The word that was used was enhanced short rains, because this is the time that we experience the rains. And I think the government maybe thought that it is not going to be super enhanced, and that's why we were not, the government did not probably take that issue. But then we need as a nation to re-evaluate the professional advices that are given. Okay. You clearly stated that when the first El Nino statement warning was given, we rushed to churches, and my good friend talked about my people perish lack of wisdom or knowledge. Yes. I'll go back to the book of the Holy Scriptures, the book of James. I think I don't want to be a root of paraphrasing the wrong verses, but we talked about faith without action is dead. Okay. We may, when disaster is or when we are given warning, rush to churches with faith that things are going to happen. But if we are not cautious and act against the warning, whom are we to blame? Ourselves. Yeah. Because even the Holy Scriptures that we are using to request the gods and the God to probably get away the disaster from us, talks about faith without action, and it's our action that has led to the current situations we are. Okay. If I was to single out the Kijabe incident, warnings were given a month ago about the accumulating water masses at the railways, because if I was to paint the picture of what happened, Kijabe is at what we used to call when we were studying the escarpments. Escarpments, yes. And escarpment is like meanders. We have, though it is a slopy area, we have some places that are they are highly elevated, others are lowly elevated. There is a railway line that passes through those areas. And in construction, when building a railway, most of the time we try to go for a straight way or a linear way. So when they were building the railway, the colonial masters, when they were building this railway, they elevated some parts and also dug tunnels in some parts. Yes. What happened yesterday is one of the places that we had embankment or soil that has been used to elevate so that we can have a clear picture or a clear line for the railway to pass, has been holding water. Yes. And I think this has been a phenomenal since independence. But they also, after building that embankment, there are some paths that they create so that water cannot be stuck. Yeah. And that is where we come to about action. Those paths that water are supposed to pass, those stormways, have been blocked. Residents of the downstream had been warned, as stated in the standard a month ago, but they just say that this is Kenya, we are always given warnings.
Now, from that very point, I'd like Fendo to respond here on who do we blame really then at this point. There's two things which are happening with this current disaster. One, warnings are being issued. If you're speaking about guys who are swept by rivers or vehicles which are being swept, or guys on boats and then they capsize, CS Kindiki says now he's going on to arrest, or is given issues of arrest, so that if you are trying to cross a river and you're caught in a place that is massively flooding, you're treated as attempted suicide. Yeah, so we are blaming the citizen for not heeding the warnings. Fine. Same thing with the Kijabe incident. Residents were told, this is happening upstream as it used to happen before, and we had, Kipchumba Murkomen and other CSs also saying move to elevated areas. Fendo, who are we to blame at this point in matters of evacuation and finding alternatives? If you've been given a warning by the government that there's, clogging happening upstream, there's likelihood of a disaster coming, should this response come from the citizens, and where should they go to? Or should the government have, gotten to this place, amassed all its efforts and unclogged the place, and we wouldn't have faced the same disaster as we are now?
There are two main people to blame for this incident. Yeah. One is the government, and two is the people like Kimani here who defend the government. So, and their wrongdoing. Why am I saying this? Who issues licenses for construction of dams? It's the government.
The government, yes.
Who issues, who is supposed to issue civic education? It's the government. Remember, during the elections time, the way the government could issue civic education, how the ballot could be right.
Where to tick,
how long to tick, how long to tick, what time should you wake up to go to, the importance of voting. Why are we not seeing them issuing civic education with the same vigor, with the same energy on matters appertaining floods? Ruto during that time could go to churches where those regardless of all religions, the Akorino, the Muslim, you could see
he has a photo with every regalia.
Yes. Why haven't we seen him with gumboots right now, with the sururus and clogging, taking the lead? I'm a communication person, and it starts with the leaders doing something about it.
Definitely.
Remember, civic education is very key. What is the civic education? From the civic education that we received here is that the government just telling us, we are setting aside 10 billion, we are setting aside a committee to do this. And you know what committees do?
They eat that 10 billion.
Yeah, we need 10 billion to take pale, tutafanya hivi. In fact, that was a drought, the one that we received donations, ilishaisha, because we bought these boats, we bought these special gumboots, and you saw some of these issues on the media.
Yes.
Another thing, it's the government to blame. Why? Because parliament is the one that sets laws that people should not do this, people should not do this. So we need to ensure that we have a strong government. And I highly appreciate the President of Kenya, Dr. William Ruto, but the people surrounding him, or the ministers, the quality of the ministers that he has, I highly doubt their credence. Who is the Minister of Environmental Planning? So
very silence.
Yeah, so Ipan Tuya.
Yes, Tuya, very silent.
So Ipan Tuya. But I'm very worried today that if I want to attack her, or rather correct her, the gender cards will be brought on the table that you are attacking women, I don't know, you are doing what and what. Those silly narratives that they present to us, trying to sell some propaganda. So we need to ensure that even the quality of people that the government is taking there, they are most qualified. You've just cited a PhD of Dr. William Samoei Ruto.
Yes.
The PhD is very good. I've read that PhD thesis. It's very, very good. And Kenya should cease to be a paper nation whereby it's just about papers. I have this number of papers, I'm the chairman committee of this, I've been to these people. No, we need to see what did you do for the people.
I mean,
why? Because they're professional in their field, but the government want to treat them the way they like.
Yes.
And that's why they even find refuge in other countries. So even the professionals in these countries, they are not appreciated. Kenya appreciates people who glorify, the politicians, sing their names, and everything. Even good lawyers in Kenya right now, they cannot stand for the truth. The incident of the Solai Dam that happened, we need to analyze it from it. I've read the ruling on that case. The case was withdrawn.
Yes.
And the government was ordered, the person, the owner of that dam, to pay 47 million. Somebody owning a dam being told to pay 47 million as compensation. Remember owning a dam? Do you remember when we were doing social studies, we could read something like Kindaruma Dam, somebody owning a dam.
That's some
being told,
amounts of money.
Being told to only pay 47 million shillings, 1.2 million shillings for a grown-up, and 800,000 shillings for a minor. It's like telling Fendoman, today we want you to pay, you've broken a traffic rule, pay this person 50 shillings, that's the money, just give it and go. So this person for 7 million is nothing to them. Fine, laws should be implemented, and funds, when you cause loss of lives, you pay 1 billion or even 10 billion, so that people can heed, to nonsense such as this.
Yes.
Another thing, he has talked about World Bank here, I know sustainability. Those are big English. We don't want to hear big English. We want to see action.
Yes, it's a question I asked earlier. Are the conversations happening in these rooms reflecting the reality of what we are living?
The Ministry of Planning, the Department of Planning of Kiambu County, they were discussing about the physical planning at the room. When they're coming out when it's raining, water is already surrounding the offices, and it's about planning. So they cannot even plan for themselves, but they want to plan for the... Are these the best people that Kenyans could put to these offices to help us deal with this big crisis?
These are the people we have. We have CS
and we must condemn the government.
Yes, he's going to arrest anyone who's crossing a river or attempting suicide. You're attempting suicide by engaging with El Nino. If you're trying to go to work, try to go on a living. If you're trying to move from a lower region to a highly elevated region, and then upatana a river in between, the river is not only your problem, but CS Kindiki's officers will also find you there. Why are you trying to attempt suicide? Here's a question. Here's a very funny statement. Imagine a police officer going to arrest someone crossing a flooded river, only to end up being swept away by the floods in that scuffle. They now want to put the lives of police in danger just to make it good. Next time, vote wisely. Arresting someone in the middle of massive waters. What happened to this citizen? Could you kindly clarify if swimming across the river is also prohibited? as I am learning to swim instead of walking across. Anyway, more comical statements from Kenyans. Kimani?
Kenya is an official
meme nations, memes, and sometimes we joke on serious matters.
Okay.
I believe that the directive by the CS was meant for people who are like the drivers of that truck.
Yes.
If he survived, he needs to be arrested, prosecuted because of the dangers he has caused on taking risk. My good friend here stated that, correctly stated that the people to be blamed is the government and the people who support the government. I want to agree with him, but ask the question, who is the government? And where do we get that government?
Okay.
The government is us, who elects a few of us to represent us.
The rest of us.
So indeed, he correctly stated that the government is to be blamed, and when we define the government, we find that it is us. So indeed, Kenyans need to be blamed.
There are three arms of the government. There are three arms of the government. We cannot say us. I've never earned millions from the government. There are people in government. There are people who can issue executive orders.
And talk of executive
orders. You cannot compare us, the hustlers here, and a person like the CS of security. If the government is us, then all the salaries should be coming to our accounts.
When we are doing blame, we have to share it, but when we are reaping benefits, the government is separate.
And he has talked about executive order. I know my friend is informed. If I remind him of the second executive order that was declared, given by the president of 2023, was giving things to do with disaster to his deputy president.
Yes.
And that's why when there was an incident in when we were here, we saw that the deputy president was at where there was a gas explosion in Embakasi. That is why we have pictures of the deputy president going with gumboots in Maimahio assessing the situation.
Okay.
Information is power, and power is priceless. So I would like to remind, he said that he has not seen the president on the ground. He delegated this power through an executive order. And it's also ambiguous for my raded colleague here to say that he needs to see the president unclogging the drainage. If he does that, he'll also come here and say that the president should not do that. I think we have a problem where Kenyans will always judge using different categories or skills for different things.
Okay.
I think my friend needs to be honest with himself and say that yes, we have a problem, but how can we be part of the solution?
Okay.
Here.
Executive orders, that's not the definition of executive orders. His intention was to define executive orders. I will give you an example of an executive order.
Okay.
An executive order is like when CS for security says that kesho msipatikane mkiandamana. When you will be met there, you will be dealt with. Those are samples of executive orders.
Yes.
But when you are on a PR stand, you are taking people for mattresses. You know, those are PR stands. And you want for photographs to be taken. And again, this simuliona tulikuja tukawasaidia. No, those are not executive orders. If you mean something and something has to be enforced, if today you try to overturn the government, you will know what executive orders mean.
Really? I think
so we need
you have a laptop here, and the laptop is connected to internet.
I'm talking. We are not in a bar.
Order number 2.
We are not in a bar. Listen to me, I talk, I finish. I was silent when you are giving up.
Let Fendo finish. Yes.
Yeah. So we need to know executive orders. What are the executive orders about this? This is a serious issue. This is not an issue about, you know, just giving out mattresses, coming and laughing with the people here. If that thing is wrong, it is wrong.
Okay.
Yeah. And the government should participate and do thorough civic education, not PR stands.
Okay.
Yeah. Another thing, before I conclude,
yes,
we've seen these members of parliament. How much did Rigathi Gachagua contribute in that sham attendance that he did? They go to churches and contribute 2 million to build churches.
For sure.
But what are they doing to this, you know, university students?
Yes.
University students are intellectuals. They need to come up, you know, with solution to this problem. At the ancient days, Moi could involve university students to come up, you know, with ideas of how we can overcome certain challenges.
Yes.
But what are we doing? The
we
president, we're just watching, and then imagining that buying mattress, a foam mattress, that one of 350 shillings is solving this problem. No, we need to calm this thing, deal with this scientifically, and with the executive orders that are meant to be
actual executive orders. Kimani, I want you to make your closing remarks on this conversation, but first, again, you need to tell us from your point of view, of course, who exactly is to take this blame. Then at this point, you've mentioned that as citizens we also need to take part of this blame. We've been warned, we've been given warnings here and there, but I tend to feel even with the Kenya Met Department, which you mentioned that at the beginning of the year they only said we're going to have short rainfalls. But remember when they said we have massive rainfalls coming up in terms of El Nino last year, it didn't go well with the sitting government, which made them apologize eventually. So I'm led to believe that this year their statements were also politically governed. Yeah, kulikuwa na a speed governor. Yeah. If I say something to a certain point, watakuja niambia unataka kutishia Wakenya namna gani na tulishakwambia last year.
We have prayed for
and they've already held lots of prayers. They're still holding prayers, by the way.
Thank you very much. I think to begin with, the truth will always remain to be the truth. As a nation, we have failed to invest in scientific ways of in the meteorological department. I'm really informed that we are still using old Stone Age equipment to predict the weather, and that is a failure by successful government, including this one. And having in mind that the current president did this season things to do with the environment, I think we need to invest more so that we can get quite informative and conclusive assumptions or the decisions in regards to weather. Remember, we have previously been warned about El Nino 3 times, and none actualized. Money was set aside to maybe do unclogging of drainage and other stuff, and nothing happens. When they say that we are going to have enhanced rain, it turns out to be the El Nino, and they start saying that we warned you earlier. But then they had said that there will be El Ninos from, I think, October, November.
Yes.
That did not happen. So as a nation, we need to relook at our investments in that department so that we cannot be relying on one donated instruments. For me to donate something, maybe a phone, I have to mean that I have another phone that is better for me to donate. Probably some of these things that we are receiving as aid and appropriations are things that were supposed to measure the weather 17 years ago. So we need to advance that. Secondly, about citizenship. One, and in regards to what Kindiki said, we cannot have the government everywhere. We cannot have the government outside your area where you are flooded, or representative of the government to tell you do not cross this road, do not drive on that tunnel that is flooded. It is your responsibility as a patriotic citizen and as a person who loves their life to take care of yourself. And if we do that, we will be able to avoid a lot of tragedy. And I mean, these things have been there in the previous regime, even in Kibaki's time. We saw people in the same rivers when they are flooded trying to cross. I mean, I remember there was a bridge that is supposed to be constructed by Charity Ngiru because it was swept away. And we were here again discussing about how I think 11 people were carried when they were trying to cross in a bus. It has become a repetitive thing in the nation. Why? Kenyans are professional, ignorant, and arrogant. When you tell them the facts, they come and they snub them. They think that it's just a heresy. And when things happen, we are quick now to blame, looking for someone to blame. And as we say that everybody's baby is no one's baby. We need to take responsibility as individual, as government, and also as critics of the government.
Okay. All right, that is Kimani Wachira's submission to the current situation we're facing in the country. Fendo is not so happy, but I doubt if we continue, even no one will really be happy at the very end, because there's always going to be, a response to the other argument. Just one thing that I didn't get from you. There was a point you wanted Fendo to check out the internet. What was it? What was the internet?
What is executive order?
Okay.
An executive order is only issued by the president, not by CSS or whatever.
Okay.
And they are like, in a year he can issue 4 or 3. The executive order number 2 that I mentioned, maybe he has a laptop here, he can Google. It is the one that reshuffled various ministries. It is the one that gave departments their key responsibility.
Okay.
It is if you look at executive order number 2, it is a document, it's a PDF of around 30 pages. You are going to see the assigned issues. What you're talking about, Kindiki issuing statements and whatever, they are just orders directed to different departments. But an executive order is issued only by the president.
So we need an executive order for this current situation?
I was saying that I was responding to his allegations that I will claim that the president needs to go here and there. He issued an executive order bringing things to do with the disaster management to the and asking that to the deputy president.
Right.
What we need to do today is declare this flooding issue a national disaster.
Okay.
Yeah.
During the, there is an executive. I'm a scholar and I know the definition of executive. I have a dictionary here, I have a dictionary on the phone, I have a dictionary everywhere. I know what it means. What I'm talking about the executive order, ground. Tuko kwa ground, floods zinaua watu, people are dying, people are losing orders. And during the demonstrations, the number of lives lost during then were less as compared to the number of people who are lost during these flooding seasons. But during then, you could see the vigor of Kithure Kindiki. I never knew that Kithure Kindiki could be that serious, But he was very serious with that. Even the president said, "Atuta kuruhusu watu kuharibu biashara za watu."
And they will say that beforehand. They will say that in advance.
Today, and they could even hire goons to go and maintain security. Why can they do that? Right now.
Today we have also
I'm talking. Please maintain. Let's maintain. The paper one English that we were taught. Turn taking while talking. And I also I think I've said my point home clearly. I like to dedicate a song to him. He has also sent me to Wikipedia. A Lucky Dube song, Lucky Dube song, which says that, think about the children, That song, there is a line that you will hear in that song that says, think about the children who lost their parents. Why were they taken away in the first place? Think about the leaders who never did us. Why were they given the power in the first place? And then you answer that question and bring with it in the next talk show that we'll ever meet in whatever place that we will be there.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for that. I'll just read a bit of where you can find these stories in the Daily Nation, and then you can proceed to the next one. So on the Daily Nation, where you will get this Black Monday report on what is happening across the country, is page 2 and page 3. So page 2 is death, destruction haunt Mai Mahiu villages after floods. Witnesses yesterday recounted the 3 a.m. horror, replaying scenes of people being dragged to their deaths by cascading mud alongside cars and debris, flood waters which came from a gully upstream. And that is a situation that happened there. On page 2 and page 3 is where you get that. On page 7, there's also Turkana cutoff as rains cause devastation across the county. These days of rain have left a lasting effect in various regions, and we're seeing here the Kitale, Kapenguria, Lodwar, Juba highway, which was cut off at around Lowe's area in West Pokot County. So that, and also more photos and images from across the country. A passenger bus here, which was damaged by flash floods in Mahimahiu. That's an easy coach bus, I believe, coming from the Nyanza region to Nairobi. There's NYS personnel here unblocking drainage in Suba South. An aftermath of a landslide in Murang'a County as well yesterday. So this is happening up country, in the city, whether you're rich, whether you're poor. This is a national disaster affecting us all. It's yet to be declared a national disaster by the president. It's also a question in the minds of very many Kenyans. What will it take for this to be labeled a national disaster? The international community is watching, and the World Bank is also pledging its support to Kenya as we are undergoing this difficult situation. But while we're still in floods, there's a story, just a side story out of it, and it's there on page 4 and 5 of the Daily Nation. Confusion over school reopening as Machogu defends the move to postpone school reopening. This was done first. Of course, we have to talk about why it was done at 1 a.m. and then also that it's now been postponed as late as the day of opening school. again, preparedness, which is a very big lack. Yeah, you know, it's lacking in this government. You can see it everywhere, from the Ministry of Health, Ministry of Planning, the Ministry of Education. Clearly, it seems we are not having any priority-based activity happening with the Kenya Kwanza government. Who spoke last, so that so that we don't go at each other's throats. Kimani Wachira, tuongee kuhusu Ministry of Education. Nini naendelea huko? As someone who's been, involved in student and education affairs.
I think the first show I came here, I was here talking about education.
Yeah.
And I was castigating the ministry and the incompetent Machogu. And my views have not changed here today. We will have done better. And it's evident that his decision yesterday, the day before yesterday, that at 1 a.m. actually, when people were sleeping, to declare that students and pupils should not resume to school, which was, yes, it's a good decision, but the timing was very wrong. Because as I understand, yesterday at 8 a.m., I was in Nairobi and I could see students. And this talks about the people, as he said, in the various departments in government are very incompetent. And before I even give my remarks, let me talk to the Kenyan parent and tell them that you should also get ready, because Machogu might wake up one night and decides to tell you that tomorrow resume schools. So fellow parents,
in 2 hours,
get ready, get ready.
You said fellow parents there, so
yeah.
Congratulations.
Fellow parents, get ready.
I didn't have that information.
Tomorrow you may be told that we resume our kids to school.
Okay.
I hope that is not going to happen.
Okay.
On a serious note,
yeah,
we have a problem in this ministry. Yesterday, apart from this, we have we had people who are doing internship that were employed demonstrating. This talks about how the entire ministry is run.
I know intern teachers
were demonstrating in Kiambu and other counties.
Okay.
I know people want to say that this decision was awaiting Ruto to make to give the decision so that it can be implemented.
Yes.
But I want to say it is not that. That is not the case. It is the incompetent CS who took time to respond, and this has costed a lot of disasters and also damages.
So it had nothing to do with the hearsay that the president or the president's order, executive order from the president.
I know you want to say it's a one-man show. That is
yes, it's a one-man show, isn't it?
No. It is the incompetent CS.
It's a circus then.
It's a circus. At the end of the day, remember, he needs to know that for today is the day we are going to resume to school. Yesterday, food had already been prepared for these students.
Yes.
For instance, in one of Mairoko primary school, they had to invite villagers to come and feast on the githeri that was cooked because of one incompetent individual in the Ministry of Education.
Okay.
And I still hold that we either reshuffle him back or send him home and bring competent people like my friend here, so that he can be able to deal with the epitome of all affairs, because education, basic or high education, is the key thing in our lives.
I'm going to say something very, or you understand it. Yes, please finish first.
Regardless of the timing, it was a good decision.
Okay.
Because we have seen, assuming that we had students on the road yesterday with the disaster, we have seen that even when we are coming here in the morning, the roads are still flooded in some sections. It was a good decision, but the timing was what
which says a lot, which actually is the biggest issue of it all, yeah? Saying it last minute. And again, this is where I come in now to say,
as they say that better late
than never, but this is life and death. And I have to point out that in my very honest perspective, from the very onset, I've not seen President William Ruto being someone who is very caring to the affairs of the students of this republic, especially primary school or lower level. We haven't even touched about comrades or tertiary institutions. Let's speak about primary and secondary schools. Back from when President William Ruto, was Deputy President William Ruto, there were demonstrations happening on that side of Langata Road with primary school students, and we remember what happened, the whole tear gassing incident. Recently, we have seen banditry attacks in the Rift Valley region where schools were closed, students were abducted. I didn't see a statement from President William Ruto. And coming into the flooding, I would expect the president to be the very first person to know that indeed, given massive flooding, roads have been cut off, buses are being swept away, children shouldn't be going back to school. Why should we take the blame away from the president? Where does the president come in when it comes to the affairs of the children of the republic? Being the father of the republic, shouldn't he be the first person to know that tomorrow watoto wangu hawafai kurudi shule? Therefore, CS Machogu, do that communication earlier. If it wasn't done earlier, I should expect a statement afterwards that, hey, okay, that wasn't an order, that wasn't a one-man show then. Who is this conducting this other show on the sideline at a very last minute? Fendo, tunafaa ku blame president at what point, and at what point should we, leave it and say the people around him ndio wako na shida?
I think on the matters of education, we can reserve the president kidogo, because Matiang'i already set the pace on what the education should be done. He already set the pace, and I think he set the bar too high, higher than a satellite. That I think Machogu fitting on those shoes is proving to be a bit difficult. What the Kenyans need is the pace of Honorable Matiang'i. Remember the issue of school bus just getting an accident. One school bus, all the buses were painted yellow.
Yes.
Nobody stole an exam during the 2016 examination period. And those students have been assisting in the marking of examination papers, and I can say those students are giving good answers, accurate answers. They are competent. So this is a ministry that really needs seriousness that it deserves. Because if you want to destroy a nation, initially they could poison, if you want to destroy a society, initially they could poison a well. But right now, if you want to destroy a nation, adulterate their education, and you can do this by giving incompetent leaders there. Like this is just a position, just giving people to just go and fill a position. Kuna Ministry of Education hapo, kuna beshte, yes. Yeah. Particular education, that is a ministry that should be taken with a lot of seriousness that it really deserves. So when these certain issues like late communication, petty small issues like ardent timely communication cannot be communicated to the parents early, it is proving that these people are just incompetent. Yes. Another thing, there are a lot of children were on the roads. Some parents were even crying on the news yesterday. We saw on KUTV and other media outlets that there are children, parents who don't even know where the children are. Because what's happening, this rain can rain even for 3 hours, heavy rains. So they go to stick shelter. When their seeking shelter time is going, it gets late. They have no place to go. Some even, sleep in tunnels, some even, do other bad means.
Just to make sure they surviving that period.
Yeah, so we need to get timely, communication from a minister. I think that was setting a bar too low. Yes. But as my friend has said, we need to also, you need also to be sent home or reshuffled to to be given lighter duties. Like I saw some governors some time back being given a lighter duty where you are removed from the NOS to being given a lighter duty of being a governor in a county. So you can also be given
being the lighter duty.
Yeah. And his explanation, the Kenyan government understands.
And his explanation on page 5 of the Daily Nation is not quite conclusive and also quite explanatory to the parents. Okay. As a parent, I'm not convinced that this was the right, the timing was the right. Yes, he's talking about this is a data-informed decision, that I did that after data was corrected on Sunday, informed that roads had been blocked. But as a parent, once again, who believes that, initially our forefathers were given land as inheritance. And the greatest inheritance I can give, or we can give as a nation to the next generation, is education. Yeah. We are not convinced that Machogu made the clarion call in the right time. Yeah. And actually, I will demand, on behalf of other parents and as a parent of this nation, an apology for the inconveniences caused by this rate decision, which we are saying that the decision is good, but the timing was wrong. Yes. And we need an apology because we had made logistical issues, even though life is paramount and life is important. This decision ought to have been made on Friday. Yes. We know people who have employed nanny, and it was during the holiday time. They gave them, they had told them that on Monday you are going for a break because
my kids are going back to school. Yeah.
Those who had employed temporary nannies, they had discontinued their services and advised them that you can look for a kibarua somewhere else because kids are going to school. We had done shopping. And most of the schools, especially for those in high school, you go with food stuff.
Yeah.
Now that means that when we are going back to, we are going to redo shopping because
we're going to spend definitely. We definitely spend it. One thing that I have to point out is the fact that this statement just reeked of privilege for me from the Ministry of Education. Giving out a statement at 1 a.m. at a time where so many Kenyans are devastated by floods means you are not aware of the dire situation. I can't imagine where the CS for Education was on Sunday evening that was so important that he didn't realize that the data really already shows kesho shule zifunguliwe, and then it hits him at around 1 a.m. And I have to give caution to Kenyans and to just to all of us in general that if there's anything we have to learn from this current disaster which we are facing in terms of El Nino and massive flooding is that, again, more with time privilege, there are times where your privilege will not save you. If you have seen people moving out of Runda, moving out of Karen because of the massive flooding, which is affecting them in the same way as someone else in Mathare, someone else in Suba, someone else in Taita Taveta, you need to know that whichever it is you think you have been cushioned against by either bad governance or just a lack of cooperation in general as citizens, will eventually get to you, whether it's financial, whether it's education-wise, whether it's health. Itafika tu mahali, we will all be equalized. And I think it should be a warning shot also to politicians. Itafika mahali where we are all the same common man facing the same challenges. And at that point, you will need my help. And it's important that when you have that level of privilege as a leader, as someone who can help out someone else, try and do so before it's too late. I think that's what we can close on as regards to this disaster. We're sending out our condolences to the families who've lost their loved ones, the ones who are looking for their missing relatives, and also as a word of caution to ensure you're thinking of your own safety, where you're living, where you're moving, and also seeking shelter as early as possible in this period of rainfall, which is going to prolong for quite some time. Now, away from Black Monday, we are looking for more money. On page 12 of the Daily Nation, you can see President William Ruto yesterday giving a speech at the summit organized by World Bank for their International Development Association, which is bringing together 19 heads of states plus Raila Amolo Odinga. That's what I was, that's how I was terming it, because it's the only other head of state I could see there. So 19 heads of state plus Raila Amolo Odinga yesterday discussing, of course, a new allocation. And they have the numbers here. If you open page 12 of the Daily Nation, 16 trillion, the amount heads of state are seeking, which is an increase from 12 trillion raised in the last funding round. 75 developing nations around the world which benefit from this low interest rate loans from IDA, which operates on a 3-year cycle. Maybe just to give you a bit of context, President William Ruto yesterday agreed to implement the World Bank's tough financing conditions in return for additional cheap loans from the global financier. Dr. Ruto said or asked for significant capital injection which offers cheap loans and grants to poor countries, notably in African countries, including Kenya. Kenya ascended to become the 4th largest borrower from this international development agency, and behind Pakistan, Bangladesh, and Tanzania. Last year, World Bank noted that Kenya was accessing about 266 billion in funding each year from IDA and International Bank for reconstruction and development. So more money and tougher conditions as well. What are some of these tough conditions, Kimani and Fendo, that you guys can expect from more money from World Bank? Of course, this just one comical statement before you guys respond there, that I got from a friend of mine called Kiruku. Kiruku is supposed to be a practicing doctor, but ako on strike, bado hajapostiwa kama intern, and clearly given his tweets anahitaji kupostiwa as soon as possible. So this is what he said. Well, after the World Bank president said that Kenya is suffering from devastating floods and World Bank will be there with you throughout this period. Kiruku replied to that saying, the president of Kenya has finally addressed the disaster. Referring to the World Bank president, AJ Banga, as the president of Kenya, who has finally now, given a statement. And it's true because, it comes with more terms and conditions. Gentlemen, your reactions to this?
Thank you very much, OKENYE.
Yes.
First of all, to the medical doctor who just texted you.
Yeah.
I want to tell him, bana, rudini kwenye hospitali mweze kutibu watu. Unajua, being given 70,000 manze as a fee for intern, bana, that's a lot of money. There are some of us who the mshahara is not quite good, lakini we are struggling.
Amkai 36 hours straight bila kulala ukihudumia emergencies, hivyo ndo wanasema.
Yeah, though also there is also another issue. I'm also not saying that the doctors are also on the right side because they raised, it was 15 issues or 18 issues? 18 issues, under the CBA, and the government of Kenya at least tried and sorted out the 17 issues, and it remained one issue.
Which is?
The interns.
The interns posting and amount.
The amount, actually.
The amount, just the amount.
So on that side, we highly appreciate the government, but we also telling the doctors that we also be at least considerate also to the Kenyans, because even these medical doctors who are striking because they are not given money. If you go to a hospital today, you don't find a doctor. They go somewhere and leave this works to the interns. So you also need to make sure that as much as also demonstrating, I'm also telling him as a doctor that this doctor should also be in the hospitals, but not leaving interns there. Because if you want a doctor, they're earning salaries from the government hospitals, but they're not there. They've left interns there. They're also earning money from their private hospitals, appointments, and all sorts of things.
So how do we fix the amount that interns are being allocated to be fair, such that then we have more doctors still in hospital and we still have interns?
Yeah, so on that, I will be honest and say that I'm not an expert in the matter of, the reimbursement planning, but I can deal with it from the communication point of view.
Yeah.
Is that, the government also needs to be very considerate about the Kenyans and also know that these people, if they are doing this work under this, they must just give them timely payments, because it's very bad. Somebody is, going extra hours to save lives of Kenyans, and the government still delay their payments and paying politicians at the very exorbitant rates and on timely payments. But
something else I think I failed to mention when we are talking about the flooding situation across the country is waterborne diseases. I highlighted them earlier in my introduction, which will come out of this, and we are probably going to experience an epidemic of these waterborne diseases like cholera and the rest. And given medics are on strike, amuni kama mambo inaenda kuharibika sana.
Because even the death rise is rising because they are going to the hospitals
and they are finding no
medical attention, and most Kenyans rely on public hospitals. Very few Kenyans can go to. In fact, I have a friend who lost the dad because he went sick. When he was taken to the hospital, they were told doctors are not there. You go back, and as in it's a very painful state to talk about doctors on strike and people are losing lives. And another thing is also we should also take self precautions by ensuring that we drink boiled water, because at this time cholera outbreak might appear and might be a statistic thing that everybody thinks that itaanzia kwa watu wengine huko sasa.
Alafu niambiwe kwa news inaweza anza wewe ndio the first. Wewe ndio tunaanza na wewe.
It might begin with you as a statistic,
patient zero.
Yeah, so it's also time, because now the government is proving to give late communications on matters of crises. So we also need to also come up with our own initiatives to make sure that we are informed and not ignorant of certain issues. Take boiled water, make sure that we are going out, not just walking kwa maji, because I think everybody here apart from OKENYE was a car, mguu lazima imeingia kwa maji. Jana bana, I had just to dip my legs in, in the water, and I knew bana, mwalimu was telling me that so many kwa bidii mnunue magari right now.
Now you get it.
But even OKENYE, when he parks his car, he has to walk to his home across that flooded ditch. And maybe
so from there we can pick some bilharzia, choleras, and those.
So take precautions. Alafu pia Godwin amesema Daktari Kiruku, uambia wenzako mrudi hospitali, and then we can get to be considerate. Your discussion about money I don't think it's something we can even handle on this panel conclusively, But yes, please, both sides of the divide, doctors and also the government, you need to be considerate that mtu mwenye katikati anaumia ni mwananchi, mwenye bado NHIF na SHIF. Okay, anyway, health tutaongelea siku ingine. Kimani Washira.
Before I come back to what we were talking about the convention of our African president, allow me to give an advice to all Kenyans who are swimming to work. Carry your water from home that is boiled, because the cost of treating some of these illnesses surpasses the cost of free water that is, you don't know its source. Secondly, if possible, carry your food as you go to work, because you don't know if the Kibandaski you go, where they have gotten their water. And we have seen that during this storm, when the storm water mixes with sewage, you cannot, it seems to be clean. To avoid complications and sicknesses, kindly carry your water and food to work. Secondly, let me make a clarion call to our pastors and religious leaders. You have been preaching a lot of water and telling us, or preaching wine and telling us to take water. One, we need to see you responding to these emergencies through our the monies we give to churches. We need to see you hosts these people who have been displaced by the floodings. We need to see you not only telling us to pray, but taking action. We also need to see you at the ground, praying from there, not telling us to pray, because from there you are not there. And lastly, back to what is happening in KCC.
Yes.
I'm quite happy that we have been able to host, is it 19 or 17 presidents? 19 presidents.
Yes.
In our nation during this tough time. I hope they are not going to say that Nairobi is a sinking or a city within an ocean. But it's good. It comes with an economical value. And what we are talking about is about money, and about how we are going to continue getting funds from World Bank through, and that is 16 trillion. That is equivalent to the entire 4 times the budget, or 4 times the budget of Kenya for Africa. And I hope that because yesterday we had a gathering of the best and the worst of Africa in one sitting.
Yes.
I hope that if for the next 3 years we are allocated 16 trillion, but these head of states and governments are going to appropriate this money better than they have done. That this money is going to go to the intended purposes. And I also want to make a clarion call to the World Bank. Be the implementing partner.
Yes.
Be there to supervise how these resources are allocated. We may be doing badly in Kenya, but other nations are worse. We see that, and a pointy case is Southern Sudan. The president was there. But if you look at how they are, the amount of loans they get, and vis-a-vis what is done, is zero.
My producer Ngure is not a very big fan of that kind of comparison, where we are saying we are better than our neighbors. Asema shida zetu bado ni shida.
Yes, but I'm saying that is why I say that I hope that the 19 heads of states
can come
are
together,
going to individually take responsibility of the funds that are going to be given. And I think that because I saw Raila there, once he has said to the chairperson of this African AUC, the commission, he's going through the Pan-African Parliament to see if we can be able to negotiate with World Bank and other lenders to ensure that they are part of the implementing plan. That money is not only given to the government so that the government can appropriate it. If money is meant for disaster, they are there to help implement it, because that is what is ailing Africa. Lastly, I listened to Museveni speak, saying the way he does not take nonsense from upcoming addressing various issues. And I wish that we would stop talking and start taking action. Because if you will listen to him, you think that Uganda
is the most prosperous nation.
Is the epitome of development
in Africa.
In Africa.
Yeah. Okay. Fendo.
Yes.
your remarks on World Bank, more loans, and of course definitely some conditions which we will get to realize the effects a bit later.
So me, first of all, I'm a Pan-Africanist. I'm a Pan-Africanist. Whenever I see such meetings, sometimes I don't really follow to know what's happening, the loans they're giving us, because I believe that we should now start, Kenya's and Africa at large has sufficient dollarization and all those things. But today is at the podium with a very good suit, trying to also seek and be given loans. Now they're really
seems, I always note that, again, for you as a Pan-Africanist, maybe you've also noted it, that when he's in meetings with other African heads of state, he has this kaunda and his kind of African attire, but when he's speaking to the colonizers, suti muhimu pale alafu.
Suti muhimu. We should now start putting up measures to even give these other countries, loans. And if this thing is possible, if they tend to respect scholars and, intellectuals like PLO Lumumba, he cannot get a ministerial position in Kenya because it's not politically correct. But we need such brains there. We need brains like Kimani here. We need brains like Fendoman to be there and start, giving, how we can now reduce on taking the loans and start self-sustaining ourselves in whichever way. Because if they're giving us loans, they're also doing something so that, they did something that, actually we just need to unhook ourselves from these loans. And loans are really harassing some of the people who have been even employed, even in this Daily Nation. I've seen Tuju handed fresh blow, tussled with bank over loans. Loans are serious issues that me, I
you can see it even with individuals.
Even with the Supreme Court. I think this case was, in the third paragraph. But a 5-bench judge headed by Deputy Chief Justice Philomena Mwilu dismisses Tuju's, loans are, if you want to really suffer, we're not saying that loans are bad, but really you have to be very intelligent. So we really need to unhook ourselves from this. We have land that our ancestors gave us. We can use that to do some small farming, agriculture, and and we'll be at a place. So
wakiacha kutupatia fake fertilizer, tutakuwa sawa sana na hiyo agriculture.
Mambo ya kuwekea watu kokoto kwa gunia, this is fertilizer. But the Kenya is a crime scene country. We need to really fumigate this country. We are suffering left, right, and center.
We are facing a lot of issues.
In fact, there is somebody who said, if these grenades that are falling, if I'm sorry to say this, if it could fall to parliament, half of the problems Kenya is facing will be solved.
And
if that happened.
And the other half will be left for Kenyans because we are part of the problem, and because a Kenyan business person.
Kimani yani wewe unataka tu tukue part of the problem.
We are part of the problem. Who's a pride? Kenyans are pride fake fertilizer to fellow Kenyans. We
should not be enabling them.
Yes, we are enablers of crime. Kenya is, he correctly mentioned that the borders of Kenya are also the borders of a crime scene nation. As we came here, and I always like using that example, we have passed 3 police roadblocks, and I took the after the 50s were dished out, after arriving at my destination in Ruiru, I went to confirm if that car has insurance. There's nothing displayed in the windscreen.
Oh, that's like chicken and egg situation. Does it? I was giving bribes because now they have to? Or is it that to normalize? We have normalized.
We have normalized
how much corruption.
Let
us begin. How much does the government of Kenya pay a traffic police? Do you know those people are paid even 18,000 shillings? You're paid 18,000 shillings and you have to share unafanya nini? These people will
an entire conversation. Go to Nairobi. Immediately you arrive at Konja. Kanjo enters, takes his amount and leave. We are taxing every public transport that gets to Nairobi. We are meaning that we are all enabler and part of the problem. And we cannot also be part of the solution if we don't decisively say that enough is enough.
Okay. Yes. So, hapo nimeagree. Enough is enough. Now, I hope this message is home for all those people. Listen, guys, it's past time, so we have to make our very last remarks. If there's a story you feel that I skipped out on your end, please bring it up. This is the point. Fendo pia wewe kama kuna story naza kwa nimeacha, you can pick it out as I read the headline on the Business Daily, and then we get that commentary alafu tufunge show. Kenya cancels France-backed Mao Summit toll highway contract. So there was a contract here between Kenya and French contractors who this was supposed to happen between Nairobi, Nakuru, Mau. In that same region ambayo saizi iko na shida, that was supposed to happen this, but it's been cancelled because of high toll fees proposed by these French contractors amongst many other issues. This was supposed to cost 478 billion. a fresh tender for this road is going to be issued. They're hoping it's going to be a solution, especially for your route here, escarpment na Mai Mahiu, Nairobi Nakuru Mau Summit. That will be very helpful, and hopefully this comes haraka. For once nimeona wakicancel tender juu ya, and I'm hoping that's and I'm hoping that's the actual truth. You know, sometimes you give commendation and then baadaye you realize, oh, ni mtu hakupewa tender. So hopefully this is a good sign that for once we've cancelled a tender because of incompetent contractors or who want to overcharge Kenyans. And this will reflect, of course, across many other spheres. One story that you can read for yourself on the Business Daily is KQ flight who've been arrested or who've been detained in DRC, and now the national carrier Kenya Airways has suspended flights to DRC, citing this continued detention of our personnel who are over there, and they have cancelled these flights up until this issue is resolved. You can read for yourself on page 2. Gentlemen, one story each, alafu tufunge.
I'll start with page 22 of the Daily Nation.
Okay.
Today in history. April 30th, 1993. Monday strikes rooms after KOTU and the government deadlock at talks attended by KOTU Secretary General Joseph Mulanga and Labour Minister Philip Masinde. A day like this, 1993, there were rooming strikes because the foreign the workers were striking because of pay. We still have the same challenges today, where the nurses, doctors and other medical professions are on strike. And on that note, let me wish fellow Kenyans and workers a happy Labour Day tomorrow. Let us strive to ensuring that we are competent laborers and also competent employees and employers. As I live here, I know I'm going back to my side hustle in Kwera Road, where we do 3D printing and Aruko boards and signage. And I hope that as tomorrow other goes to Labour Day, also they are also going to come and we are going to support each other in terms of business. And around me also, because I may not get another opportunity to send greetings to people who have been watching us. We have Shane Njeri, who is watching us from Kahawa West and saying that it is quite floody in that area. Irene Azedi Mayasi watching us from Western Kenya. We have Peter Njoroge and Kamau Kangede, who is watching us from Nairobi. And they all have one message to Kenyans. Take care, take care, take care.
All right.
Lastly, allow me to speak to the youth of this nation. As we endeavor to creating and getting employed after finishing universities and colleges, let us also endeavor to creating a larger social network, because our names have been mentioned in places where we have created a larger social network where we would have never gone if we had only created friendship. As we interact with these readers, as we interact with our peers and people who are above us, let us intend to making a greater social network, and also let us not focus on them, on us knowing them, but them knowing us.
All right.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Kimani Wachira, as well. Fendo Godwin, your last story, if any, and then your last remarks at the same time.
So first of all, let me begin with the last bit, last remarks as far as the newspapers are concerned. At least the first thing when I get a newspaper, I always go to the business Biashara who behind just look at the number of properties being auctioned, at least being a Biashara Tuesday. So I can see the number of pages with people's businesses and properties being auctioned is at least trying to reduce. And my only worry is when I take a newspaper and you find that even there are 8 pages of auctioneers being at the people's necks. So I think maybe let me just believe that it's an improvement that people's property are not being used and business is now being viable, considering that the dollar is also improving. And another next story that I'd like to recommend the Kenyans to read is to find it from the Daily Nations, and it's talking about a healthy nation. There is a very good article here that talks about ignorance, and I'm always a fight
against ignorance. Yes, I noticed.
Yeah. And here,
we have a war against ignorance.
Yeah, and the children pay heavy prices as parents ignore life-saving vaccines. You know, we are in a TikTok generation where people don't care. You find that parents even forget to take their children for vaccines. People cannot even remember the BCG vaccines, the the polio vaccines were being given in primary. Remember those things? They could come to primary schools and give you those things. So right now, people are feeling like, you know, they're even forgetting.
Make my own decisions.
Yeah. So we need, we need people to read, and I've really read about it, and it is really informative. I think people should just get this newspaper and get the story about
healthy nations, vaccines. Sawa. Anyone you'd like to give a shout out to as your last
I would like
sign
to
off?
give out a shout out to my father, Fendo Dibis. He's a great fan of KUTV and this show, to be specific.
Nice.
I'd also like to send my shout out to my lecturer, my former lecturer at Multimedia University, Mr. Kidaha Alfred, who I know is right now seated at the visitors lounge waiting to dissect the AU chairmanship contest in relation to the media, how the media is going to do that. And I really like to also request my busy friend to be around to also help us dissect the issues to deal with AU chairmanship contest.
Nice. Yeah. Right. Thank you very much for creating time for us here. And I'd just like to close this section by highlighting the editorial cartoon at page 18, on page 18 of the Standard, where it's a photo of Caesars, and then I think that's CS Linturi.
Yes.
Yeah. And then a fertilizer briefcase. Alafu anauliza resign who, how, why, wapi, mlisikia wapi. There's no resignation that's going to happen unless the Caesars fall on him. Yeah. What's your
this cartoon is quite speaking about the Kenyan situation, the entitlement in public service, that I'm there to represent you, but you can do nothing about it.
Yeah.
When the National Assembly, whose constitutional role is to legislate, tries to oversight the people who have been selected to represent us in various ministries, are entitled such that the likes of Wamushomba from Githunguri signs a petition to impeach the incompetent agriculture CS who is economically sabotaging our nation. His response with me resign.
Mimi
mnajua mimi ni nani? I talk to the president daily. That entitlement is what is ailing our nation.
Big man syndrome.
Yes, big man syndrome. Yeah,
it should be dealt with properly. And
think about it. We'll continue with this conversation another time. Thank you, Kimani Wachira, for bringing that up. I'll close it with a quote at the back of the Business Daily. It's coming from American poet and critic Ezra Pound. Anasema, any general statement is like a check drawn on a bank. Its value depends on what is there to meet it. Any general statement is like a check drawn on a bank. Its value depends on what is there to meet it. Think about it, interpret it as you want, react, and also apply it where necessary. Thank you very much for creating time for us here on KUTV Rise Today. This has been Biashara Tuesday with me, Richard OKENYE. On Monday mornings, you get Art and Culture Monday with Karen Blessing, who gives you a dose of art to begin your week. And then on Tuesday, I bring business to give you a tone of success for the rest of your week on Biashara Tuesday. We highlight small, medium, enterprise, large corporations, and anything that affects the economy and how you're earning or losing money. If those are conversations you're interested in, ensure you're tuning into this show every Tuesday morning from 7 a.m. to 10 a.m. Interact with us, send in your questions in advance during the show, react, predict, and we'd love to see, of course, where you are tuning in from. Until next week, I'd like to leave you to have yourself a blessed and successful week. May your profits be high, but your jokes higher, so that you're laughing all the way to the bank. My name is Richard OKENYE. I sign out, and I'll see you out. Yeah?
I am struggling.